And welcome to this edition of At the Mic. I'm your host, Keith Malinak. My goodness, there's so much here that we're gonna have to attempt to get to today. Um, Thank you for making time on your busy Friday afternoon. And boy, where to begin? I will say that the worst president's bracket, is a lot different now than it was a week ago at this time when we discussed it. In fact, I don't know if I have. No, of course not. Why would I have the updated bracket? If you haven't seen it, uh, here I am. I mean, you talk about being Mr. Prepared. We're down to so we started with 16. Okay. And so we're already at the not so elite eight, the 8 worst presidents as determined by you. It came down, like I said, this is top of the line graphics right here. We're apparently down to Woodrow Wilson versus FDR. That's going on right now. If you want to vote, it's pinned to the top of my Twitter page at Keith Malinak. Joe Biden and Andrew Jackson. That's tomorrow's battle. The winner of all these matchups make it to the final 4. Obama and Carter coming up on Sunday. And then you've got Lyndon Johnson versus Bill Clinton that will round out the final 4 determination on Monday. Those gentlemen will battle. So you're determining the worst president of all time. This will run through April 8th, just like the NCAA basketball tournament. So participate. Pin to the top every day at Keith Malinak on Twitter. Disney history, we've wrapped up that 12-part series with Ed McCrae. The Saturday morning live streams that we've been doing since late December. We wrapped it up last week. If you missed any of the episodes, if you haven't seen any of them, they're at my YouTube channel there, youtube.com/atthemic with Keith. So much history, so much information that Ed packed into those conversations. Really, it turned out to be about 24 hours with Ed. A lot of fun. He is so knowledgeable with that stuff. Next week here on the Friday live stream, 2 p.m. Eastern, we're going to have FBI whistleblower Steve Friend as my guest, along with, I was going to call him the Irish guy, but he's really an American now, factual, Jonathan Dunn, recent immigrant, legal to this nation. Steve Friend and Jonathan Dunn are my guests next week. So looking forward to that. I do hope you're having a good Friday, a good Friday. I guess that's what you would say. And then don't forget Easter Sunday coming up in just 2 days. I hope that you get a chance to spend it with those that you love. Now, today, my guests are going to be my buddy Ian Patterson, who, literally is, as he just said off the air, 2 exits up from me here in Texas, Dallas-Fort Worth. And then you've seen her before as well, Zeynep, Yenisey, and both. Oh, by the way, I do this every time, guys. Hang on. If you want to get to know more about them later when we're done here, let's see, our conversations. What I kept a cheat sheet here. Here it is. Hang on a second. So Ian, you're episode 108 when I used to do the life story stuff. Episode 108. And Zay, what episode were you? Shame on me. I don't have your episode number. You don't know, do you?
No.
You don't know. Okay, well, I'll find it at some point. Anyway, so thank you all both for making time. My buddy JP Decker, who I work with over at the Blaze and Mercury One, he got bronchitis, something I got a few weeks back, and so he had to bail. So Zay, appreciate you pinch hitting at the last minute. I want y'all to kind of introduce yourselves here. Tell us what you do. Well, how about we do ladies first? Zeynep, talk to me about your life and what people should know about you.
I am a Twitter doctor. Twitter's
That's
best doctor. But in real life, I'm a creative consultant.
Mhm.
And I do just a lot of creative work. I do branding, brand development, marketing, advertising.
And you're a
creative
writer
strategy.
too.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
I'm a writer and an
And you're a
editor.
writer. And I think one of the things you do better than anyone is travel. I know that you just got done.
Yes. I really
How long
enjoy
were you
traveling.
gone?
I was on a 4-month vacation. I kind of just fell off the face of the earth, and I disappeared so hard that one of my best friends is still to this day absolutely convinced that I disappeared to have a baby, like secretly go have a baby.
Oh, did you? Tell us more.
Yeah, I totally had a baby.
What would you name a baby if you were a mom? What would you name your first kid? If it was a boy or a girl? You have names picked out yet?
Well, I had a dream about 2 years ago where the name of my firstborn child was revealed to me. So I have the name. Well, I didn't pick it out. It was
Sure.
told to me.
The dream told you.
The dream
Yeah.
told me, but I
Yeah.
can't share the name with you because I can't have someone stealing my baby name.
I respect that 100%. Oh,
Thank
wait,
you.
can I say 100% or is that racist now? My bad. My bad.
That's
Didn't somebody?
racist?
Yeah, check the ADL. If you say 100, it means you're saying it's 100% white supremacist
Oh
and like.
my God.
Oh, it's unbelievable. They try so freaking hard to make everything racist. Well, Ian, talk to us. I want to make sure that we talk about because I got to know you through Pineapple Express, right? Which was how you got good people out of Afghanistan when it collapsed in 2021. That's how I first became knowledgeable about you. And now you're doing something, Heroes Wellness Collective operation. Did I get that right?
Yep,
Or no?
that's so.
I'm sorry.
We started
Hero, you tell me because I wrote it down and I think I butchered it.
So we started as Task Force Pineapple. Pineapple Express was kind of doing the same thing, different group of guys.
Task Force. See, I screwed that up too.
And
bro.
then we switched over to what's called Operation Recovery. And when Task Force Pineapple decided that their role was done, Operation Recovery picked up the baton, kept moving. Still to this day, we're getting Afghan allies out. We just got one out today, actually. So that was a positive, and unaccompanied female, which is near impossible. So that was big news for us today. We now have our Grow America Farms Corps, which is getting legal immigrants and veterans who are interested in farming onto the farms and into factories working with partnerships with Cabot Cheese and some local farmers up in Vermont. And, you know, we had a mission in Ukraine. We had a mission when the war kicked off in Israel right off the bat. But our big focus now is a Heroes Wellness Collective. We're creating our own HIPAA compliant social media network that there's 1,000,001 organizations out there that help veterans, right? The problem is there's no consolidation of those resources for the veterans. So what the Heroes Wellness Collective is going to be is a network, a social media network for veterans, first responders, active duties and their families, as well as the organizations that assist, whether it be social, mental, any type of medical, one peer-to-peer with the veterans, adaptive sports. As you know, I'm a part of the Dallas Stars Warriors in the adaptive hockey program. And it's bringing a centralized location for everyone to come together. They're still going to run their operations, their businesses, their organizations the way they run it, but we're bringing them a central place for to be able to coalesce with other orgs, with veterans, mental health professionals across the board, and we're hoping to have that live by the middle of May. So that's our big project.
Yeah. I mean, you're a veteran yourself, and you're constantly doing things to help out veterans, and so God bless you and the stuff that you do, man. Just grateful. So I thought I would kind of change things up a little bit as per usual. This first segment we're going to do is normally buried in the show, but I thought, you know what, maybe we just do this kind of right out of the gate, especially considering I'm in the middle of the worst presidents of all time bracket on my Twitter page. So I thought I would ask if you guys want to play. You can. I would like to know who you think, and you don't have to get too political if you don't want to. Let me start with Ian. Who do you consider the worst president of all time, sir?
Man, it's a long and distinguished list, but you could go a ton of different directions on this. But for me, it's FDR.
Oh, well, you better vote today because right now he's losing. Woodrow Wilson is considered to be worse than FDR. I mean, see, Woodrow Wilson's a 1 seed. Roosevelt is a 2 seed. But right now, if I check the voting, let's see where that stands. We've got Wilson's up 77-23, bro, with just a few hours left. So
Wow.
you have to campaign for FDR. But that's a total understandable vote. Zay, who's the worst president of all time?
Okay, 2 things. First off, I'm looking at the chat and someone said, "What a beautiful background for mine," and asked where I am. I'm on the Titanic.
She's on the. I forgot to mention.
I'm on the
that you're
Titanic.
on the Titanic.
I'm on the
yeah.
palm court of the Titanic. First class passengers only.
Well, they fixed it up nicely. I mean, the last time I saw that, it was underwater, literally.
And now, as you can see right here, it is. Oh my God, I can't even do it. It is above water. So.
Yeah, I would be. I have learned from doing this, and from my day job, Pat Unleashed on the Blaze, that I would make a terrible weatherman. Like, hey, there's this over here. I cannot. My brain does not do this well. Okay, so worst president of all time?
I know this is controversial, but I actually think all of them are terrible. I think they all suck. I think the whole presidential thing of the United States in particular, the whole thing is a psyop. I think they all suck. They're all of them. They're just 2 sides of the same coin. I'm sorry,
Calvin
but even
Coolidge.
JFK.
I'm sorry, Calvin Coolidge. JFK's the worst?
No. I'm saying like even he.
Oh, give you JFK. Okay. Oh, even JFK. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Calvin Coolidge is not like the rest. Please spare me that one. No, but that's I could get on board with about 95% of the presidents. Yeah, but a couple have slipped through that they weren't anticipating. But yeah, how about that? You're not going to get that take anywhere else today, that the office of the president of the United States is a psyop. Okay.
I'm not saying there is no president. I think that the whole thing is just optics, and there is a total shadow cabal
100%
controlling everything. And everything that you see, it's all just optics.
Mm-hmm.
Elon Musk too. People like totally worship him. Okay, he's obviously not president or presidential anything, but people love him. Even the people who claim to be like conspiracy realists, and they're like, I know what's going on, but then they're like, oh, Elon Musk, I love him. Like, come on.
Well, if you really want to go down the rabbit hole, look at the different levels of security clearances and where the president sits within those levels.
Wow. Like how many layers down is the president? Because I've heard
not very deep.
So but they're not at the top.
They're not at the top and they're not at the bottom, but they're not they're
because I actually was listening to an interview recently about aliens, and they've talked about, who was it? I think it was Clinton. Somebody kind of recently was trying to get information about Area 51 or something, and like they were just like, he found out through channels that, I'm sorry, we can't reveal something specific that he was asking, or one of the presidents was asking. Wow. Okay, so is your favorite president of all time then going to be JFK, Zay? Is that where you're going with, or you're going with Calvin Coolidge?
I'm going with a secret third thing. None.
None. Okay. Very good. I like it when Ian, like when his head like just kind of positions just perfectly, he looks like the devil. With that background there. Who's your favorite president of all time, Ian?
Man, that's a tough one. But I'm a Reaganite, even though the guy drove up debt. Like just the way he spoke and his ability to crush, so to speak, the Berlin, the USSR, and bring some level of normalcy to strength through power. I think he was, in my time at least. You could go back, you could say Abraham Lincoln for what he did to end slavery, but I think in the overall scheme of things, Reagan Reagan was the epitome of, what you want to be as presidential.
Yeah. I often try to explain to my kids what it was like growing up in the 80s with a real man as a president. And it's like, I feel like when I'm describing the 80s to my kids, it's like I'm describing another world, another country, another timeline. And it's so depressing that it hurts. Okay, so let's go to impulse buys. Ian, I have no idea what your answer is going to be to this. I don't even know if you're much of a shopper, because I tried to answer this for myself, and I was like, I don't really know that I know I have an answer. I just couldn't think of one, which is so hypocritical to ask my guests when I don't even have a freaking answer myself.
Probably 2 weeks ago, I bought a new hockey helmet when I absolutely didn't need a new hockey helmet.
I mean, that's fine. I respect that.
Totally unnecessary, but
okay. All right. Very good. Speaking of hockey, I'm looking forward to going to a hockey game with you real soon. Anyway, okay. Miss Zay, impulse buy. Got anything coming to mind? Oh no, it's something. Hold on, I can tell. I can just tell. It's something that she's thinking of, but she's also processing. Do I want to reveal it to the world? That's exactly what that look was. I know this.
Yep. I mean, it's
you don't
probably upgrading my flights to first class.
Okay, that's an impulse buy. I've never done that, by the way.
I mean, it's totally worth it. The last one that I did, I was flying from Istanbul to New York.
That would be worth it on a long flight like that.
Yeah, and it was like right at the end of like my 4-month vacation, and I was like, okay, time to be a little more frugal, and let me just get like a standard plane ticket. But then I get to the airport, I'm like, fuck it, because
it's the end of my. I'm sorry, just that line. The end of my 4-month vacation. I would love to utter that line at some point in my life. We got upgraded on a flight from Las Vegas to Houston once. That they put us in first class. That's the only time I flew first class, and I remember it being. Again, I didn't pay anything extra, but I remember thinking, "Yep, I can totally see." And this was back when there was real food on the plane. In fact, this was a week before 9/11, ironically enough. So this was.
wait, what do you mean real food?
Like it was.
Like they carve a leg of lamb in front of you?
No, it wasn't quite that real of food, but it was yummy. I can't remember exactly what it was. I just remember thinking, wow, this is really good food, like normal food,
Okay, so let me just tell you, Turkish Airlines has the best airplane food ever.
And you were in first class.
Well, okay, technically it was their business class. It was because they didn't have a first class on that particular plane. And there was a man dressed like a chef with a chef hat, and it was just so cute.
Okay, wasn't that intense on whatever we were on?
So I very highly recommend Turkish Airlines.
Okay. All right, Turkish Airlines first class, noted. I want to ask you, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think when you were traveling during your 4-month vacation, you caused an earthquake in Egypt. Is that what happened? What happened there?
Yes, I absolutely caused an earthquake in Egypt, in Luxor, which was like pretty far down.
Oh, that's why they named that hotel in Las Vegas that, huh?
It's a place in Egypt, and I was doing this esoteric tour of Egypt along the Nile. So I went like all the way down to the Sudan border, but this was so I have a thing for the Pharaoh Queen Hatshepsut. So I went to her temple and I took an empty bottle with me, and the only empty bottle I could find was a Starbucks bottle, like those crappy frappuccinos. So I drank it, and then I put a little bit of vodka in the bottom of it, like an offering, and then I took it there and like swung it around, and then I caught the spirit of Hatshepsut. And then I had a pendulum with me, so I asked the pendulum, I'm like, did I catch her? And it said yes. So I put the cap on, and then I kid you not even 5 minutes later, there's an earthquake.
How big of an earthquake we talking about?
It wasn't huge. It was like a 5.4 or something.
It was enough to make its presence known.
Yes, exactly. So my mom told me, I was with my mom and my brother. My mom was like, you need to open that cap up and release her from the Frappuccino bottle. I was like, absolutely not. So I brought her with me to Istanbul and then to New York. And then now she's with me in Florida.
Okay. I mean, that's intense. And in fact, I think that should be the name of a B-side somewhere. Egyptian queen inside a Frappuccino bottle outside of a Starbucks in Florida. Okay.
Okay, but I have one thing to add.
Yeah, please.
So when I was in New York, I was in my room there, and I obviously opened the cap up and released her into my room so she could like be free while we're there. And I have this painting of a woman above my bed that my grandma made. She painted it. And it was one night I woke up at like 3 a.m, just like kind of like, I just woke up. And then I swear there was something floating right above me in bed. And then it flew into the painting.
Okay, here's what we need. Write this down. I'm serious. You got a pen and a paper there?
No.
Oh, gee. Someone write this down. Okay. Someone remind me later. Yeah, you will. Okay. We have to do. I'm thinking of a title right now. It's something like Experiences with Zay, where you and I just sit here and I just I pull the string and you just go, and you just tell us because there are some fascinating things that happen to you, and you need an outlet to share them all. Okay, so we need to be working on this as a future live stream.
Once I start talking, I won't stop. So it'll just be like a 2-hour stream of me just
That's
like
fine.
Talk,
and I'll be over here and I'll be like bouncing my checkbook and stuff, and I'll be just like, yep, and then what happened? Okay, no, you've experienced some things, okay, and we need to discuss them. Okay, so both of you attended college. Zay, I believe it's your turn to go first here. What was your major in college? Because I know you went to NYU.
Yeah, I went to NYU. I double majored in psychology and neuroscience.
Ooh,
and
that sounds intense.
It was. It took a while. It took me 5 years to graduate, and I minored in child and adolescent mental health studies because I was so certain that I was going to be a psychiatrist. Like I was ready to go to medical school, but then I changed my mind and I was going to do my MD PhD, and I was going to go to the University of Oslo because I wanted to do neuroaesthetics. So it's like the brain science behind why we find certain things aesthetically pleasing. And it's one of the only labs in the world. There are 3 in the world, one at NYU, one in Japan, and then one in Norway. And I wanted to go to Norway. And then I changed my mind altogether, and I didn't.
I was about to say, then you got red pilled somewhere along the way, and
said, I'm like,
nope.
I'm done with school, and I'm not going to be part of the medical industry either.
Okay, yeah. We cover a lot of that ground in episode number whatever it is. I need to find that number because you both are fascinating people, and I want people to hear your stories. Okay, Ian, what did you major in college, sir?
I think you're muted.
Wait, what? Did I mute it accidentally? Hang on. What happened here? Hang on, let me just check here. Mic volume. No, I didn't touch anything. What's happening?
Can you guys hear me?
There we go. Maybe you know what? It must have been me. Sorry, my bad. Please don't hate me. Okay.
So you're not going to believe me when I tell you, but I was a meteorology major.
Yes. Yes. I knew that as I asked it this time. I thought, wait a minute, I know this answer. Yes, that's awesome.
Yep, did my undergrad in meteorology, did atmospheric science, and I also did a graduate degree in tourism marketing and management, which at the time I had no intentions of ever being in tourism or marketing. And oh boy, how the world turns you get academics that you don't feel that you're going to use. So
So you are a weatherman. Then you can do all this stuff behind you and.
Yep. And I did it for the military as well. So
Right.
I have functional capability too.
And that was something we discussed in our conversation about how important of a job, maybe people wouldn't think about it on the surface, how important of a job having a meteorologist telling you what to expect weather-wise before a battle or something, and you experience some very intense situations. Before I forget, Ian, episode 108, and Zay, episode 86. 86. Okay, so Ian, do you ever think, man, let me back up. Do you ever watch like the local news or watch a weatherman on TV and be like, man, I could totally do that, and I want to go back and do that? Because I don't know if you want to discuss what you do now, but do you ever think, man, I want to be a weatherman for real?
No. So most of the ones you see on TV aren't actually meteorologists. They're journalism majors who have I think it's 9 hours of TV broadcast meteorology.
Is that the AMS seal of approval?
Something like that. They're basically taught to stand there and do this on a green screen, and it's more or less taught how to present the data. But no, I looked into the National Weather Service when I got out of the military, and when what they were paying and what they wanted you to do in the hours, I was like, yep, that's a negative. We're out of this path.
Understood. Okay, hang on a second. All right, are you still there, Ian? Because I'm having issues with your mic. Yeah, and we didn't miss anything that you said. Trust me, we didn't miss anything you said. I'm just trying to tweak kind of the whatever. I should just leave well enough alone. Anyway, no, I don't know. Sometimes I watch these weather guys, even though I wouldn't be able to calculate the simple math involved in it, and I just think I think it would be fun. You know what? I just want to be a weatherman for 5 minutes so I can do what Bill Murray did in Groundhog Day and blow the clouds out of the satellite. Anyway, that's just me. Okay, so what's our next question here? Okay, Ian, do you collect anything? I bet you're stamps. You're a stamps guy, right?
I don't collect. I am the worst person for collecting. I don't collect anything. I'm shiny thing, throw it away, on to the next.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, I have nothing. Nothing.
I understand. I think when I was a kid, it was baseball cards, and that is literally the only thing I've ever collected. But I'm like you now. It's like, no, I don't. Zay?
The spirits of Egyptian.
Yeah, I collect the spirits of pharaohs.
Spirits of pharaohs. Okay, where are we at next here?
For helping me with that.
Sorry, that one just seemed way too appropriate, Zay.
No, it's true.
How many places did you go on your 4-month vacation?
It
was around the world in 80 days, wasn't it?
I mean, I went to a bunch of places, but nothing like crazy. I started out, okay, here's how it happened. I was only supposed to go to New York City for a 2-day work trip, like from Florida. So I only packed like a little bit of stuff with me. I was only supposed to go for 2 days. While I was there, something came up, so I went to Paris. Like I canceled my flight back and then booked a flight to Paris. Then from Paris, I went to Geneva. And then from Geneva, I went to Amsterdam. And then from Amsterdam, I went to Istanbul. But that doesn't count as vacation, really, because I went to my mom's house.
Right.
And then from there, I went to Pakistan. I went to Karachi. And then went back to Istanbul. And then I went to Egypt. And then went back to Istanbul. And then went to New York. And then Florida.
Because a few months ago, some of the live streams that we did, you were all over the place. I mean, I guess we can say it now. I mean, I remember once you dialed in from Europe, once you dialed in a couple times, you dialed in from Turkey.
Yeah.
My word. I mean, yeah. And that is, now that is one thing that I think COVID taught a lot of people is that, oh my gosh, I could actually do my job from anywhere. And it has allowed this freedom of movement, which has really helped more freedom loving red states, quite frankly, like Florida, that have benefited from people who go, oh, you know what? If I can live anywhere, I'm getting out of, say, the Northeast. And I guess if you wanted to work over those 4 months, you could have, if you'd wanted to.
Did I choose to? Not
did you
really.
choose to?
Well, okay. I did do some work, like a little bit of like hourly consulting work when I
All
felt
right,
like
see?
it.
Yeah, you had to be able to buy that ticket to get back home. Let's see. Ian, where was your last vacation? Did you go to Paris, Geneva, Turkey, Karachi, Egypt, anywhere else like that?
No. I've got a 1 and a 2-year-old. Those trips are now going to be a few years out. No, we did back in October. We went up to Maine and Rhode Island and Boston and New Hampshire. Kind of made a trip of it. Good friend of my wife's was getting married, so we took the boys and made a week-long New England trip out of it, just enjoying
Nice.
the New England autumns, and lobster and clam chowder as much as you could stuff yourself with.
Man, that is the one part of the country that I've never been to is the New England states, and I definitely need to get there. By the way, if you follow Ian, what happened to our? It's when I put the graphic up. Hang on. There you go. If you follow Ian there, and we need to talk about this later. We're going to talk about y'all's experiences on Twitter, but Ian posts some incredibly fun videos of his little boys being little boys. It's some fun stuff. One last question here. Stupidest dare you've ever agreed to? Zay, you're up, I think. Or no, who's up next? I don't even know where we're at here.
I think it's Ian.
Ian, you're up. Sorry.
Stupidest dare I've ever agreed to.
I figure being in the military, it's going to be a military-related story, isn't it?
No.
Okay. Dang it. I'm a bad gambler.
So it's rugby, but it's not really a dare, but it is kind of a dare.
Okay.
So when you join a new rugby club and you score your first try for a new rugby club, you have to do what's called a Zulu Warrior at the after party, which is you have to run around the bar naked. Well, my Zulu Warrior was in Jackson, Mississippi, and the secret was to go out and you had to run around the bar. Well, they locked the doors on the bar, and the Jackson, Mississippi police just happened to be there.
Oh, come on.
So
man.
I had to run 2 blocks and away from the police to get back into the bar when they finally opened it and realized the police were chasing me.
Bro, that's not cool at all. What time of year was it?
Like October, so it wasn't too bad.
That's good. I was just wondering, man, if it was January. You're like, it's cold. No.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Miss Zay, stupidest dare you've ever agreed to?
Well, this one was like sort of half dare, half me doing it on my own free will, but I don't know if you could see it on there. But...
What is that? A tattoo?
Ooh.
Yeah.
What? I'm telling you, a whole podcast of just Zay experiences with Zay. What happened? What is this? What happened there?
A sloppy night in New York City. College.
What is the tattoo of?
It's
an
okay,
Egyptian goddess or something, or priestess, or what is it?
People already think that I'm like a Fed or CIA or like Illuminati or something, so this is just going to fuel that, but it's skull and bones.
Oh, what? You know what? If somebody ever accuses you of that in person or a setting like this, you'd be like, all right, you know what? You're right. You got me. Yep, you got me. Wow, that's good. That's good. Okay. Well, good stuff there. So, uh, this isn't. I I try to segue as best I can. I don't always succeed, but this kind of sounded like a kind of a segue dare. Like in 1999, I want to show you this this lady here. If I could find the picture. What have I done here? See, I'm not coordinated enough to walk and chew gum at the same time. There she is. Can y'all see that? There she is. Okay. So that right there is a woman named Joan Murray. Okay. So she jumped out of a plane at 14,500 feet above North Carolina, 1999, and her parachute malfunctioned. All right. Now, listen to how she survived. This is amazing. She landed directly onto a mound of fire ants. Doctors believe that the intense shock of being stung over 200 times by the ants released a surge of adrenaline, which kept her heart beating. Is that not the wildest thing you've ever heard?
That is called divine intervention.
Right. That is... I thought it was wild. So I wanted to share that with the class. Because when I saw that this week, I thought, oh, that's on the live stream. That's definitely on the live stream. Okay, so again, remember how these are called awkward segues, transitions. So we talked about how the lady jumps out of the plane, she lives, crazy dares. How about this crazy dare, if you will? This happened just earlier this week in Indiana. A guy was out trying to outrun the cops, and he's driving. He got his Ford Mustang up to 170 miles per hour. Ooh, that's more than my pickup's going to do, I'll tell you that. So he was originally clocked doing an 84 and a 55, but he tried to outrun cops. It didn't work out for him ultimately, even though he was up to 170 miles per hour at one point. When he hit a curb, the pursuit finally came to an end. My gosh, I wonder if that car flipped. It doesn't say so here in the story I'm looking at. But anyway, 170 miles per hour. So I want to know, you two wild and crazy, well, guy and girl. So what is the fastest? Because my answer is Interstate 80, Keith County, Nebraska, ironically. I know for a fact I got up to 105 miles per hour. The cop was generous in that he only wrote the ticket for 85. This is back in the... Zay, maybe you're too young for this, but used to be the interstate would only be 55 miles per hour. And the cop was kind enough to say, look, I'm writing it as 30 miles over because anymore you wouldn't qualify for the deferred whatever thing, where you take the test and defensive driving and then they don't report it to your insurance. So he was doing me a favor by writing 85, but I know I was at 105. I have a feeling one or both of you have been going faster than 105. So I thought I would ask, Ian, what's the fastest you've ever been driving?
On the Autobahn between Frankfurt and Heidelberg at about 165.
Oh, wow. What kind of car was it?
An Audi.
An Audi. I was in a Honda Accord, so. All right. Zay?
Not surprisingly, mine was also on the Autobahn. But I was actually there for work. I was working with Red Bull at the time, and I was there, they flew me into Munich, and then they gave me a rental car. And then from Munich, I drove down to the Dolomites. And then on the way back, I don't remember where it was that we were driving so fast. I was with my boyfriend at the time, and he was driving, and he was just flooring it. So I don't even know how fast we were going, but it was way too fast for my comfort. And I was actually really scared.
Yeah, I can imagine being really scared if I'm not in control. Like if somebody else is driving, I'm probably panicking a little.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if I'm under control. So here's my question, since you've both been on the Autobahn. Is it is it predominantly just a straight shot? Is that, I mean, I know there's no speed limit, right? But is it just straight? What's the story there? Why can people go so fast on it besides just the no holds barred speed limit? Is it just that straight that people can just?
Well, it's kind of that's a multi-layered question. So it's not that there isn't a speed limit on the Autobahn. It's based on the vehicle that you're driving. So if you have a car that's a Honda Accord and you're doing 85, if you're pushing excessive speed in like a Honda Accord, they will pull you over.
Interesting.
But if you're doing, 160 in a Porsche, the car's built for it, and they're just going to let you go on by. But it's multiple lanes. It's very, very straight. There are some curves. It's not just a straight shot, but they're not, traditional curves like we have here on our roads. They're pretty big and looping, and they bank too. So
oh wow,
they have a slight rise in them. So you can, and the roads, and Zay can probably back me up on this. The road is pristine. I mean, it's it's like perfect driving condition.
Wow. So no potholes, no nothing like. How do they upkeep it? I mean, I guess do they just close it down at times, and I don't know. Hey, I saw a sign this week on social media, and I was like, yeah, we got to talk about this. This might open up a larger discussion. Even if it doesn't, it's worth sharing. There you go, everybody. There's who's educating your kids. Teachers needed. Possessive. Teachers needed. That just spoke to me as a homeschooling dad. But there you go, a teachers needed sign. And so this actually got me to thinking. This is the awkward transition part. This got me to thinking about Florida and what Governor Ron DeSantis has done down there in trying to empower parents over teachers with some of the bills that have passed down there as they relate to education. I mean, that's your home state, Zay. When you're not on a 4-month vacation. A lot of victories this week, as a matter of fact, for Ron DeSantis and the state of Florida. As far as they passed a squatters' rights law, or going against squatters, basically thieves. Let's see, what else did they do? He had the victory against Disney with Reedy Creek, and so he won that one. There's a law now that I don't like that just passed down there, and I want to talk about this one with you guys. And it's the social media law that basically says, here's the headline from the New York Post: Ron DeSantis signs law banning Florida kids under 14 from social media, restricts access for under 16s. I think this is too much government, and maybe you have some thoughts, especially you, Zay, being that you're down there. But it just seems like it's doing the opposite of what Ron DeSantis, and everything I've seen with Ron DeSantis, he seems like a great governor. I think he would have been an excellent president. And I think that overall, he gets high marks from me on the things that I see from afar. This one just seems, I don't know, a little bit counter to the whole parental rights thing. And I just wondered if I'm the only one that's reacting this way to seeing this story this week.
No, I think this is, first of all, really stupid, and nothing like this ever works. It's like that thing where you open up a website and it says, confirm you are over 18. And even if you're 12, yeah, you're going to click, yeah, I'm over 18. So this stuff never going to work. How can they push this? Maybe by requiring a state ID or a passport. And that is terrible. So is that what this is opening up the way to? Like, regardless, this is terrible. I don't like it at all.
That's one thing that Zay, that you do really well, where you like see the next step, the unintended consequence. And you're absolutely right. I didn't even think of that.
Is this an unintended consequence or intended?
Or intended, yeah. Man. So I don't know, Ian. Do you have any thoughts on this one as a parent of a couple of young kids?
Be a parent.
That's right. I'm right. That doesn't it seem counter
the
to what
biggest-
DeSantis stands for?
Yeah, just be a parent, right? I mean, the problem is we can't regulate our way out of everything, which is what, you know, everybody's trying to do these days.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's, their knee-jerk reactions to regulation. I mean, we have laws that say, hey, you can't murder people, but hey, we need to write more laws that say we can't murder people. And it's the same with this whole social media thing. Yeah, we're on social media and stuff like that. Yes, parents need to take more, but the thing is, parents need to take more interest in what their kids are doing on a day-to-day basis and engage them and get them engaged versus handing them. I mean, I see it all the time here in the Metroplex, and anywhere you go, the first thing they do is you see a kid walk in with headphones and a tablet sitting at the table. That's all they know. Their entire interaction in their life is through that tablet or through that telephone. There's no interpersonal interaction anymore. And, when you're not engaged in what your children are doing and you don't know what they're doing, they're going to go to somebody who's going to engage them. And in this modern era, that social media is not the engagement we want them to have. But it's not the government's job to regulate it. It's our jobs as parents to regulate it. No matter how good the intentions are, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we have to consider.
So, and like I said, you're the parent of two young boys. Zay will be the parent of children whose names have come to her in dreams.
Yes.
And you are raising kids in a world that is completely different than the world I raised kids in. And my kids are aged 16 to 21. I have a 21-year-old now, by the way. My gosh, what is happening? So, in the world has changed so quickly that the America, first of all, the America that my kids grew up in is completely different than the America that I grew up in. I can't imagine the America that y'all's kids are going to grow up in, and the decisions that the choices you're having to make as parents are things that I don't even have to think about. And an example I will give is vaccines. And maybe this only applies to me. I don't know if other people have evolved like this, but I always thought, you know what? Vaccines, fine, whatever. I'm not big on them, but they're not evil. How about that? I've educated myself. Now I did avoid the COVID vaccine from the very beginning. It was something that I didn't think I needed. I would take my chances looking at the death rate, knowing how quickly they push this thing through, and just saying, I'm just not getting the freaking COVID-19 vaccine. But what that really did is open my eyes to the entirety of the vaccine world. And so what really pushed me over the top, and I came out on my Twitter feed this week and I said, I don't care, call me anti-vax, because at this point I don't trust anything that is going through a pharmaceutical company or being recommended by this government. And I recently read The Real Anthony Fauci by Robert Kennedy, and I'm like, all right, this is, I don't trust any of them now. None of the vaccines. Well, you guys, like I said, you have young children, or you're going to have young children, and you are going to have to make these decisions. If I had it to do all over again with my kids, we didn't go crazy with the vaccines, but we got the basic ones you get, right? Like, okay, for example, and this is what people will point to. Oh, so you want your kids to have measles and stuff like that? Is that what you want? I mean, because we have a measles outbreak over half the nation right now. And I contend that that's probably from having wide open borders in our nation. And when you open up, and I don't mean this demeaning, but when you open up your nation to the third world, a lot of baggage comes with it, such as these kind of disease outbreaks. It's just the simple truth. So I guess my question for y'all, as you're going ahead into this world with young children, knowing what we know and how governments and big pharma are tied at the hip, and I trust neither of them, how are y'all making these decisions? Because I don't know what to suggest. If my kids come to me, I'm gonna be like, yeah, make your own decision, educate yourself. But I wouldn't want to be a young parent right now just for the vax. Never mind the insanities of social upheaval. What about just the vaccine situation there? I know it took a long way to get to that question, but I'm just curious what you guys are even thinking.
And I could start. I have been an anti-vaxxer since before it was cool. So my kids will absolutely never get a single vaccine in their life.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, okay, what am I going to do about school? Well, obviously, they're not going to go to a public school. I have my reservations about homeschooling. So
Yeah, well,
I'm
so what are you
thinking
gonna do?
I'm going to send them to a Waldorf school.
Okay. All right.
And I'm thinking maybe somewhere actually not in the US. So I've looked into like Switzerland or something. So yeah, that's my plan for now. I mean, if I could swing it, like sending them to a Waldorf school in Switzerland.
I don't
If
know what a
not,
Waldorf school is.
Waldorf
I'm from
school,
Atlanta, Georgia, so you're
a
gonna have to
Waldorf
explain.
school is, do you know what a Montessori school
Yeah,
is?
yeah, yep, absolutely.
It's similar to that, but like super, super esoteric.
So hold on a second. Hold on. And I don't want to make this awkward for you, but what are the odds of you finding a guy who has the same kind of view on this?
Well, oh, I mean, we'll cross that bridge when we get
Yeah,
to
okay,
it.
that's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Okay, if he, okay, say I marry a guy and we're like on the same page about everything except for the Waldorf school. He's like, what the hell is that? That's so weird. My kids are going to be freaks if they go to that school. Okay, we'll talk about it, and then maybe we'll decide to just do like normal homeschooling or something.
Okay, just there's a lot of questions you're gonna have to have answered. But good luck, man. I mean, it's just I can't. This is what you're having to deal with in these serious discussions and decisions that shouldn't even be a stressor at all. But
And
here we
honestly,
are.
I'm actually glad that I have not gotten married yet. Like, I'm thinking if I had gotten married before this COVID stuff happened, like say I married my ex-boyfriend that I was dating like right when this COVID stuff was starting, odds are we would be divorced right now. And maybe we would have a kid and we would be like absolutely going at each other's throats over like, are they going to get a vaccine or something? Or like, how are we going to school these kids? So I'm so glad that I am avoiding that. And right now, I have, I think I would call it a luxury of being able to find someone that I know I am aligned with.
Sure.
Because right now, all these stuff, like these topics, they just come up on like a first date or something. So
Yeah.
I think it makes it nice.
Yep. Nope. That makes total sense. Ian, it's not a hypothetical for you. It's present day. What's going on with you, man?
It like slaps you in the face. You know, the best thing I say that happened to vaccines is COVID.
Yeah.
Because what it did is there was so much poor information out there that it really opened a cross section of the population's eyes. And, you know, me being military, my grandfather had polio when he was younger. Especially in the military, they pump you full of everything. And most of the time, they don't even know what they're putting into you. Now, with that being said, when it comes to our kids, we do a lot of research. We're not 100% against vax. Like I said, polio, things that are tried and proven that haven't changed, you know, year over year over year. You know, we're like, okay, that's, you know, those are okay for our children. The one thing we do is I've noticed with my generation, well, our generation, Keith, um, I don't know how it is with your friends, but a lot of my friends have kids that are on the spectrum. And almost every single one of them can point to the exact time that, and it wasn't something small. It was like, oh, we were seeing it. It was an immediate switch, and it
Mm-hmm.
was a certain vaccine. And but when you read studies on it and things like that, they want to give it to kids when they're, I think it's the measles vaccine. They want to give the first inoculation at under a year old.
Yeah.
Well, they really don't need it till they're almost 4 years old and their body can actually handle the
Mm-hmm.
measles vaccine. But I mean, there are ties to it, and they refuse to say it, but there are ties to the measles vaccine and autism. And if I don't have to give it to my kids immediately, yeah, it sucks that we're seeing, and like you said, it's being brought over. And they proved that in Chicago. They've got an entire housing block that's blocked off, and it's all these illegal migrants,
Mm-hmm.
the illegal aliens with measles. But things like that, I mean, there's no need to give them to the children when they're 6 months old. Um, wait until they're of age that their bodies can process the new vaccines now. Man, it's going to have to be 100% proven. What they proved with COVID was they don't care about the actual science; they care about the optic. And when we put the optic over the science in medicine, we're going to see a lot of issues, which we're already starting to see in pregnant women who got the COVID vaccination. All the misinformation on ivermectin.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's a horse. It's a horse paste. Well, yeah, it is used for horses, but ivermectin is one of the most widely used medicines in the world for multiple things. And I think that's where the problem stands. And then you look at you know how much we vaccinate our children, which is ironic compared to the rest of the world. Americans don't travel. We travel more than we used to, but we don't travel. Traveling to most Americans is going to the next state over to the southern part of the current state you live in. Yet we put all these vaccines from 0 to 18 in our children, and then you look at Europe. They only give them something like 13 vaccines or 18 vaccines, whatever it is, from birth till the time they're an adult. Well,
Mm-hmm.
Europeans travel every 3 weeks, and you're not seeing these outbreaks in Europe. You're not seeing. So what's the kicker here? Is it the tie to the big government, obviously, in big pharma? And then, like Zay said, Eric and I are at the point. Tavish is now almost 3, going into preschool. We're looking at alternative schools, and we're probably our plan is to do a hybrid homeschool where we have like a co-op here locally, and we're looking at potential property overseas that we can spend 6 months here in the U.S. and 6 months, in Europe or wherever we decide, Argentina, wherever we decide that we want to spend the following 6 months. And you can't do that with traditional education.
Mm-hmm.
I sucked at traditional education. Um, when I went to school in Australia for grad school, the way they do their schooling was fantastic. I picked it up just like that. Um, and then I can't remember his name. He's a state representative for Virginia, former Green Beret, kind of funny guy. Got his name's right at the tip of my tongue. Um, but I was listening to him a couple of weeks ago talk. He homeschools his kids. And he says, think about it this way. If one of my children is struggling, I can make the change now to a different program that fits their learning style more so than the current program they're on. If you try to do that in the public school system, now you have years of backlog, and now another kid's going to fall out
Mm-hmm.
because it's not going to fit. When it comes to education, there is no one size fits all, and it has to be more tailored to the individual and to the student. So I think we're going to see, obviously there's a huge push right now with it being an election year to demonize parents who homeschool and do that. But I mean, the Montessori schools, the Waldorf schools, a good friend of mine from the Air Force, his daughter was, wasn't borderline, was suicidal because she was struggling so bad in school, and it affected her mental health. And she dropped out of traditional high school, and they found similar to a Waldorf school for her, and now she's a doctor.
Huh.
Literally just the switch in the type of education and academics put her from on potentially, committing suicide and ending her life to now she's a doctor, and I'm not sure what exactly she's doing, but she's in Atlanta, and it's just amazing, versus what you're seeing with the kids today. They don't even have to read or write or turn in homework in school today.
You're right.
What good does that do?
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, those are little government indoctrination centers is all they are now. Yvonne, thanks for chiming in here. I think she's got the name you're talking about. Is it Nick Freitas?
Yeah, Nick Freitas. Yep.
Freitas? Okay. I've not heard of him. I'll have to look into his stuff. It's a shame that we even have to have these conversations in the United States of America. And honestly, when you talked about America in our vaccination schedule compared to Europe, for example, it's the unfortunate thing is it's all about money now. And I would highly encourage everyone to read The Real Anthony Fauci for Robert Kennedy. It's got so much just factual information about the big business of vaccines and how the government is completely tied at the hip. I mean, this goes back, we're talking the swine flu, the HPV, all this is a money making.
I have so much beef with the HPV vaccine.
I know you do. I wasn't going to put you on the spot, but if you want to talk about it, you're more than welcome to.
I love talking about this.
Okay. Yeah. Right up. But yeah. Let me hand this over to you to talk about your experience with HPV. But right up through COVID, and it's bad enough that it's a money making thing for these people in these high places. But the harm that it's one thing to generate a product for profit, just for profit's sake, not to do anything good about it or whatever, but that is harming people, and yet you continue to push it. Ian, I want to mention, you talked about the polio vaccine and these vaccines that we know are good and stuff like that. That's where I was. Hey, this thing's been around forever. But the problem I have now is that I don't trust the middlemen, the hands that stuff goes through today. That's the thing. I trusted the polio vaccine from 1955 or whatever up until recently. But now I see the players involved in the distribution of this stuff. And now I don't trust the hands that these good vaccines, these actual real helpful vaccines, go through. The last thing I would say is that there's a family friend whose daughter was behind in her vaccination schedule. The dad took her in without the mom. The mom would have stopped this. And you talked about, Zay, you talked about how, you would clash if you were going through all this with a new husband, blah, blah, blah. Well, he took her in, and even though I think he hesitated, but they convinced him, no, we got to catch her up right now. And they injected the poor young child, the girl, with 13 vaccines in one doctor's visit, in her personality. It, just like you said, Ian, changed overnight. She became a little monster from the sweet little girl that she was. And eventually, the happy ending to this is that they eventually found a doctor who put her on an all-natural diet that basically detoxed her. And as long as she stays, the way I understand, for the rest of her life on this all-natural diet, she doesn't become the monster that was created from that horrible day at the doctor's office. And like you said, Zay, I mean, they are now divorced. I think there's many things going on there besides just this experience with the vaccines and their daughter. But you got to get on the same page with your spouse on this stuff as it affects your kids. Zay, the floor is yours if you would like to talk about your own personal experience with the old HPV thing, because I know it's It's not a good story.
Yeah, I've talked about this so many times and I will never stop talking about it. The HPV vaccine was the catalyst for me and my entire family to wake up about vaccines. And we're like, what the hell? So I was in college, I think it was my second year of college, NYU. Uh, Obviously, the student health center just pushes whatever vaccine on you. So I was basically told that if I didn't get this vaccine, I would get cancer and die. So as an idiot 19-year-old, I was like, oh my God, I need it. I need to get this vaccine. So I go to the student health center and the nurse takes me in, tells me absolutely nothing, just zero info. And then she's like, okay, give me your arm. So I get the vaccine. It's 3 doses. So I get the first one. Immediately, I pass out. I feel awful. And I've fainted before from different things, but this just, I did not feel good. It was like, I swear, something in my body changed at that moment. Like, I passed out. But obviously, I didn't think it was from the vaccine. And the nurse was like, oh, it's probably because you skipped breakfast or you're just scared or you're stressed. And that's it. So they make me wait a little bit and then I go home. And I start getting these weird headaches afterwards. And it was a couple weeks between each doses. And so after the first dose, I pass out and I'm getting like these weird headaches. But anyway, I go in for the second dose. I get the second dose. I don't pass out this time, but the headaches get worse. And immediately, it was like the next day, I start having heart problems. My blood pressure is not regulating itself. I stand up, I start getting like super lightheaded, and I had to skip a bunch of classes because I just was not feeling good at all, like blinding headaches, super nauseous. So obviously, again, I don't think it's from the vaccine. It doesn't even occur to me. So I get the third dose, and after the third dose, I get full blown POTS. It's postural something something. I forgot what it is, but it's basically your blood pressure. It all your blood pools in your legs when you stand up or when you work out or you take a shower. Like that's a minute too long or too hot, and so your blood literally just can't go up to your head, and my legs are like purple and it's just terrible. And on top of that, I lost every single hair on my body. So I developed alopecia universalis, which is very, very rare. And this happens right when I get this vaccine, in addition to getting POTS, and I'm getting these headaches and I'm nauseous. And it was a nightmare. Imagine you're 19 and all of a sudden you have these health problems. And to make it worse, you're now bald. You're like dolphin smooth, like no eyebrows, eyelashes, everything. So right when you want to feel pretty and good about yourself, you look super weird. You're like an alien. And then you're also sick and you're just like, what is happening to me? And when I saw a doctor about this stuff, they said it's not from the vaccine. No, it's just a coincidence.
They never do.
So
they never do.
And the thing about the HPV vaccine, this is like very common knowledge. They totally fudged the clinical trials. It was like the COVID vaccine, fast tracked. And they pumped the control group full of adjuvants to give them awful side effects. So they were able to say, see, it's as safe as salt water. Gardasil is just as safe. See, whatever happened to the control group also happened to the vaccine group. So it's totally fine. And now they're pushing this vaccine for HPV is like a sexually transmitted thing. And they're pushing this on like little kids, like 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds. Which 7-year-old is having sex?
Yeah.
None. So you have to think like there's something really wrong with this.
Absolutely. And you'll recall, I texted you when I was reading this book, and I said, look, I was always, I forgot how I worded it, but I was like, I always felt bad for what that vaccine did to you. Now I'm enraged. And I'm telling you, because there's a specific section in the book, The Real Anthony Fauci, that deals with the HPV vaccine. And oh my gosh, all I could do was I was thinking of you, and I was like, this was absolutely 100% avoidable. They knew, and they just didn't care. And it's, and by the way, Ian, I'm with you 100%, man, when you say Ronald Reagan, one of the best presidents this nation's ever had. But, some things slipped through. And that was one of them, where the lack of liability for these vaccine makers, and oh my gosh, the trajectory that caused that has cost us today. It's enraging.
Look at the fine that the Purdue family's just got for narcotics. I mean, look at the millions of people that the Purdue family has affected with their falsifications and narcotics and things like that. And then look at the penalty that Donald Trump. Listen, I'm not a Trump guy. I like his policies. I don't like him as a person. But the state of New York hits him with almost a 500 million crime. Yet, they only hit Pfizer for $1 billion, or not Pfizer, but Purdue family for $1 billion. And that killed tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people with addiction. I mean, you can tell who's protected and who's not in this country, and what industries are and aren't.
Yes. And I can't, as long as you're talking about Trump and I'm talking about RFK, as much as I bring up this book, The Real Anthony Fauci, that is not an endorsement for Robert Kennedy for president or anything like that. I'm telling you, it is the most eye-opening book on the history of vaccines in this nation, and how the players in this government, specifically Anthony Fauci and others, have used their positions to enrich themselves. And this no holds barred, I don't care what happens to you or your kids or your family or anybody with what's getting injected into your body. We just got to move this product because we've got money to make. And I'm sure YouTube is going to absolutely love today's episode of At the Mic. Okay. What a perfect time to play some animal videos. Anybody want to do those here? Let's bring some levity, shall we, on a Friday? Okay. There we go. Birds are smart. Can we all agree with that? Birds are just intelligent creatures. This poor dog. You see, let's just start just with the dog's face. The dog is already telling us with its eyes that, hey, you know what? I don't like this. And oh, by the way, Danny K, good point. Bill Gates and Anthony Fauci. Yes, you learn a lot about both of those men in that book, The Real Anthony Fauci. It should have been The Real Anthony Fauci and The Real Bill Gates. Anyway, look at that dog. What a beautiful dog. What very very emotional eyes. Very telling eyes. Yeah. So I want you to see this bird wants to play, and you can just tell that these animals grew up together. But look at this. Bird. It's cute. See, the bird wants the toy, and the dog's like, it's my toy. I had it first. Why don't you back off? I could totally eat you right now. It's cute, right? It's cute. I love animals. And we need this video in our lives right now. Look at the bird, man. It's like just a little, it's just so trusting. These two obviously have known each other for a very long time.
And magpies have zero fear. Zero fear.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. There's another dog back there lurking. I don't know. See this dog back here? This dog's going to get in on the action here too in a second. It's like, all right, what's going on over there? You know these two know each other. I mean that like forever. And it's talking, man. I mean that's adorable. Can I get an amen? That's adorable. I love how the bird.
We need more of these in our life.
Absolutely. And, like, little instigator bird. Anyway. So that's our first video for today. First animal video, I should say. And what a beautiful dog, though. But that's a fun little group there. Okay, so what else we got here? Oh, so on that theme of dogs being, birds being so intelligent. By the way, on this next video, this kid reminded me of your boys. Just
Oh God.
Well, just the look. You see, I mean, doesn't that look like could have been your kid?
Yeah, that could be ours.
So, okay. There's a bird. See the windows open. There's a bird flying in. So we're gonna press play on this. This bird in this dog. And by the way, I forgot to write down who tagged me in these videos. I'm sorry. I try to remember to do that and always fail. But thank y'all for sending me these animal videos and tagging me and sending them in DMs and stuff like that. Anyway, I love this bird. Is like a dog, quite frankly. Crows, man, as smart as an 8-year-old.
They could spend hours just playing. Russell is a wild bird. He's not around all the time, but when Otto is outside, he will never leave Otto's side. When we go inside, he will sit outside the window because he wants Otto to go outside with him. When I pick up Otto from kindergarten, Russell will sit on our roof and make sure that Otto is home. Even though Russell and Otto are really great friends, I never leave them unsupervised. Russell would only allow Otto to pet him. Whenever I tried, he would leave. They have a special bond.
Man, that's cool. I want a bird like that.
You know what? There's only one explanation for this.
Oh no,
that
is it a
baby was a bird in his past life.
I'm telling you. Experiences with Zay. It's a podcast is coming to you. Okay, so all right, this next video. This is TVMA warning for this. Why? Who sent me this one? I don't know which of you sick freaks sent me this one, but I just play the damn video, okay? Tell me what is happening here. Are these land? What animal has a butt that looks like this? Look at what is.
What the hell is that?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Wait, did you see the video of the turkey with the giant breasts?
No.
I think it's a turkey, but it's some turkey-ish bird that makes this weird like sound and then goes like that, and then it has these giant boobs that do that.
What is going on? What are we trying to determine there, by the way?
There's so many jokes that can be had.
Right. What conclusion are we coming to? Yep, this one's got that's a good bouncy ass right there. This cheek's good. Oh my gosh. Okay, hang on. Now, see, Zay's got me wanting to find out oh gosh, I'm afraid.
I saw it on Twitter yesterday.
Turkey, with breast.
I think I saw it Tuesday.
Yeah, right. You know what I'm talking about.
Is it the one that like leans back and fills out?
I think so, but they're just like they're huge and bouncy.
Bouncy. I'm not finding it. Just in a cursory glance. I'm seeing some interesting pictures, but none of them are of an actual oh my gosh, that's not a turkey. Okay, turkey. What I looked up turkey with breasts. And again, if you want to take a look later, turkey breasts. I don't know what to do here.
Maybe I liked it. Let me see if I can find it.
Oh my gosh.
Or maybe it was on Instagram. I don't remember. But
all right, and that there is a dude, by the way. Twitter. With breasts. Okay, I've given up, but we'll be sure to not share it. Let's see here. What's next do I have on the list of speaking of animals. I want you to see this kind lady. This is a kind lady, and I want you to see she's holding up on her phone there. She took care of a baby hedgehog. Okay, and she's showing us the. In fact, here is the actual picture of what she is showing us as I just adroitly switch pictures here. What she is holding up is a picture of a baby hedgehog in a box with cat food. Look at that thing, huh? She's taking care of it. Isn't that sweet? It's not a hedgehog. It's a top of a hat.
Porcupine?
Like a pom-pom off the top of a hat there. No, it's not even an animal, Ian.
That's the top of a toque?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And she picked it up when she saw it outside, and she put it in a box. She gave it food. She's like, hey, I check on it overnight. It hasn't moved. It hasn't eaten. I'm taking it to the vet, where they had to break the news to her that you're a moron. So there you go. She I think
they walk among us.
That's all the commentary we needed on that was Ian going, ugh. There it is, the baby hedgehog, also known as the top of a hat. Okay, biggest news story of the week, the bridge in Baltimore. And I figure since we've already likely drawn the ire of Twitter, let's just go for it. Let's talk about the bridge collapse, and let's just see if anybody's got a similar thought that I do, which is not an accident, but that's just me.
Obviously.
Okay, thank you. I can always count on Zay to be there with me with the conspiracy theory. Thank you. Okay, lady and gentlemen, what are your thoughts on the old bridge crash thing, destruction? Anybody?
You know,
Laura Logan has been out front on reporting on this, and I think she is definitely onto something with it being a cyber hack of sorts, a spoofing situation, taking over the controls of the ship through mock GPS. Anyway, go ahead.
Is she though? I mean,
Laura, cool, like, pushback. I like it.
Like think. You know, let's think in a kind of technical. And I'm by no means a sailor. It's a single screw ship, which means one prop. It's not a dual. You know, they turn from the back. They don't turn from the front, where the rudder, you know, the rudder's in the rear. When you look at the charted path, but there's other things you have to consider.
Okay.
If it were a cyber attack, obviously we've seen the video. The video is very clear. It loses power twice, right?
Yep.
So how do you factor in for a cyber attack weather, tide, and the flow of the water? You can't. Not for it to be as immediate as those outages were. You know, the power went out, it came back on, it went out. You know, you can't think of the current. That's the word I was looking for.
Okay.
Like, you can't time for those three variables if you're going to do a cyber attack. Not on a ship that's, you know, 100 million tons or whatever they are. That's just a number I pulled out of my ass. But in a single screw, you just can't plan on that. I could see maybe a GPS takeover where they lose physical control, but you see the power outage. I think this is going to come down to some type of engineering mishap. But you know, I was saying the other day, I mean, and ships run into bridges all the time. The Sunshine Bridge down in Tampa a couple of years back. But the amount and the severity of mishaps that we've had with our transportation sector in the last 3 years seems to be exponential. And I'll take a different approach. Even though this is a foreign flag ship, we are no longer hiring the best of people to do the best of jobs. It is now hiring for DEI. And when you hire for diversity versus hiring for the best to be in the position, something is going to fail. And that is what we're seeing across the board. And it's not just in the government, it's across the board. And but it's been very profound in the transportation industry.
And I will say that with all of these food processing plants, I've actually mused on the air on Pat Gray Unleashed, my day job. I've said, is our food supply under attack? Quite possibly. I wouldn't be shocked if it is. Or is it the fact that we're in idiocracy land now, and people aren't properly trained, properly educated in these important jobs, and we're just seeing one catastrophic situation after another? I think a case could be made for both. I think there's evidence to support both. I think a couple of things about the Baltimore thing is that you have the FBI, and again, this could be a coincidence, right? The FBI guy who is specialty is in counterterrorism, who just was taking over the field office there in Baltimore the day before this happened. And what's this about 2 minutes from the black box missing? Is that correct there? The information from the cargo ship, the Dolly. So let's sit back a little bit here and find out. But I'm not dismissing anything. In fact, right now, just looking at it through Lara Logan's tweets and who she's quoting in intelligence. And something we've been expecting, right? Haven't we been expecting something like this to happen? And
let's not use intelligence as intelligence, though.
Okay.
Because if
you have a much more specific understanding of that world than I do, so please, by all means, take it.
99.9%. I know some great people who are operators, and I was just on the phone with one of them for something else the other day, literally the day before the Russian theater attack, and talking about terrorism because of what I do, because I move people from countries that are rife with terrorism. And we have to consider where a lot of these people are coming from. 99.9% of the time, how many times have they missed? Almost always, correct? So these are analysts. They're not targeters. They're talking heads who are paid to say something, because if they say this or if they say that, their organization is going to get more funding or more of this. But almost every single time they're wrong. So I think the best thing on this one, because we've come to a tendency to jump to conclusions immediately, and the assumptions make an ass out of us as a whole. And I am not a government person whatsoever. I am quite the opposite. But Laura Logan has had some good stuff in the past, but she's also come off with some stuff that's been so far off the wall and so unfounded. And I think what we're going to come out with in the end is something that is a bit more in line with an accident than some crazy. And I want to hope that, but I mean, You can't take it off the board yet, right?
Can't take it off the board.
But I think putting it out there as a factual, I think it really degrades what's happened, and it's degraded the 6 lives that were lost. And it's going to take away from any investigation that could garner the actual truth.
So in this day and age, when something like this happens, and we have been lied to so obviously across the board on so many things by all levels of government, when you have all levels of government, before the sun rose that morning, it happens at 1:30 a.m. It was still dark when all levels of government were saying, nope, not terrorism whatsoever, not an act of war, nope. I believe that there has to be some grace for those of us who have no confidence whatsoever in our government, in all levels. Again, that we've been lied to so casually by them on everything, small things and large things, to use that even as our basis for denying the narrative. I feel like, why would you come out so quickly to say that? That didn't sit well with me either. But Zay, I want to give you a chance. You haven't had the floor on this topic yet. So please, if you have any thoughts to share about what happened in Baltimore earlier this week, please share them.
Obviously I don't think it was an accident by any means. I also don't think it was like some kind of mechanical failure. And I know people were talking about how the ship was having issues like 48 hours before and then they still let it sail. Like, come on. It's the whole thing is, I think, very obvious that it was meant to happen this way. And so quickly after it happened, it was said that the federal government will pay for its complete repair of the bridge. And to me, the whole thing just reeks of money laundering.
I bet the bridge gets a new name too, the Freddie
Oh, yeah.
Gray Memorial Bridge.
I do agree with that with Zay, because the money should not come from the feds. But do you know there is still a shipping law from I think it's 1891 that are on the books, that they can only be liable up to a certain amount.
Oh my
and
goodness.
It's a very low amount
because
they didn't want the shipping channels to be shut down due to fines and things like that.
Interesting.
I'll see if I can find it in
And I think one thing that also gets overlooked here is that it hit this vulnerable spot on the most important route that I've learned since, a couple days ago. The I-9, all of the stuff that comes into that port and all of the stuff that interstate is used for, my word, could you have hit a more vulnerable spot in American shipping?
Like, you guys saw the way it just went right into that support beam. Have we learned nothing from the Titanic and how it was steered directly into an iceberg at a very, like, they went directly at it so that it would hit it at just the right point so that the ship will sink. And I don't know, this seems very Titanic coded to me, where it hit that support beam at just the right angle, and there was a lot of room for it to go any other way, but no, right into that beam.
Right. I'm trying to find in. Oh yeah, here we go. No, this isn't the story that I thought it was. Where did I see that this will cost $28 billion damage to our economy?
Oh my God.
In workarounds and trying to make up for the lack of the Baltimore port being accessible. So anyway, that's going to be fun to see where this leads. Maybe fun's not the best word. So much chaos here on this planet. Maybe we need a new one. Have you seen that a new super Earth has been discovered? And it's pretty close. It's pretty close compared to what we're used to hearing about. But the new super Earth, and this is, by the way, this is an artist rendering here. It's not the actual Earth that we're talking about here, but it's got the catchy name TOIS15b, and there it is. It's only 137 light years from us today. Oh, by the way, there you are. Okay, so there it is.
Do you think this has anything to do with the solar eclipse that's going to happen? And it's going to draw an X.
Wait, what's this about an X? What now?
Okay, so the eclipse that's going to happen, I think next week.
Monday, April 8th. Yep.
Yeah. So it's going like this way across the U.S. Well.
Yeah. And then the lunar one. Yeah.
In 2017, there was another one that went the exact opposite way. What does it do? Make an X.
So what are you insinuating here?
I don't
Stories
know.
with Zay.
My mom told me all about this. She knows a lot better than I do, but
it
has something to do with, I think, somewhere in the Midwest, like some town, something's going to happen. And then this new planet, it's like something about X. And then Twitter has been renamed X. So it is like disease X. There's just like a lot of X variable.
A lot of X. Okay, so So here was my question for this super Earth, if you will, or whatever it's called. It's 137 light years away. So my question is, it's a two-part question for each of you. Number one, if a planet that could sustain life were discovered, A, would you go? And B, what is your maximum limit on how far you're willing to travel? How long are you willing to stay in the ship to go to that obviously, let's say it's first class. It's Turkish Airlines for Zay, okay? How long are you willing to sit there in first class to get to this new world where hopefully there are libertarian values and there is actual free? Javier Milei is the president of this new planet. How long are you willing to sit there in first class to get to this planet? Obviously, 137 years just ain't going to work out. Light years.
I prefer being on Earth.
Okay, so you're going to stay put. Figure it out here.
I mean, if it's disgusting here, maybe I would consider leaving.
Newsflash, it is.
I don't consider this disgusting. I actually think Earth is beautiful. I love being here. I love being alive. I think all of us chose to incarnate here, but that gets into other conversations.
Okay.
But I think humans are meant to be on Earth. If we were meant to be elsewhere, we would have been. But that also raises the topic of, I think I talked about this before on a different podcast with you, but on Mars, there was not humans, but there were beings on Mars. And then there was a big cataclysmic event. It was apocalyptic. Everyone died. And since everyone has a soul contract, those who died before they were able to fulfill their purpose were reincarnated on Earth. And Elon Musk is one of those people, which is why he's so obsessed with going to Mars.
That's interesting.
It's an interesting take.
I wholeheartedly believe this.
But when you look at, it's funny though, when you go down that rabbit hole, because I like to watch those kind of TV shows and things like that. There's too many similarities across the Earth where things should not be similar, from timing and mankind and things like that to, different pyramids in different locations and different technologies that should, that couldn't have happened in, say, North America, that were found in North America. There are too many things out there to not to second guess, but to not consider more advanced life from many millennia ago.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And that was one of my reasons for, sorry, not to cut you off, Keith, but super quick. That was one of my reasons why I really wanted to go to Egypt, and particularly see the pyramids. After seeing it, I am 1,000,000% convinced that ancient Egypt was not what we're told it was.
Not a chance. Not a chance.
And the pyramid itself, the Great Pyramid, absolutely not a burial chamber at all. It was used to make monatomic gold, using water pressure from the Nile River.
Okay, just hold on, time out. Do me a favor. Will you please say, at your convenience, will you go back and listen to this podcast? And I want you to write down everything that you came up with that we need to explore further on future podcasts. Okay?
Okay.
I'm serious.
I can do
100%
that.
serious. Okay. Now, you did say that it's a beautiful planet, right? You love it here. Everything. We're not gross. It's nothing crazy here. I want to show you guys something. I don't know if you've seen this or not. Just to refresh your memory from about 20 minutes back. This is happening on our planet. Is that right?
I mean, what's not to love? They're sheep that are cheeked up. We love it.
Okay, I want to go to your Twitter feeds real quick. You guys post some interesting things.
Oh God!
And what do you mean? What's the problem here? What's the problem? Here we go. Okay, we'll start with you, Zay. Let's go to Zay's Twitter feed. I looked at some recent tweets that you guys have been posting, and Let's see here. Where is it? What is happening here? Come on now. Where is it? Where's my screen? Ah, there it is. Okay, I want to know more about this, Zay. This is your tweet from a couple days ago. An amusement park I'd go to every summer when I was a kid had one of these rides, I guess, right? And I'd go into a few times in a row with my brother, and we'd both throw up afterward. It was the most fun I've ever had. And so this guy, you retweeted, it says it would spin fast and the floor would retract. There were no safety belts and no helmet. I don't know what this is at all.
It's called a gravitron, apparently.
I want to do.
You don't
this.
know what the gravitron is, Keith? This was like prime time, our generation, man.
Sheltered youth is what I had.
Keith, even I know about it, and I'm like 1 or 2 generations after you.
Where was this? I went to state fairs. I went to amusement parks.
They still have
not
them.
Anywhere near Atlanta, Georgia. I promise you.
Yeah, it would throw you back against the wall, and like
it
you
just
couldn't
spins
move
so fast. Yeah, and then
this was made for me.
It's so fun. It's so much fun, and you don't. Well, I figured out you don't get nauseous unless you try to lift your head up. That's when the nausea just hits so hard and so fast.
Okay, so I see what I'm seeing here is basically I assume what centrifugal force happening here. Is that what's happening? You know,
it's basically a G machine.
So how do you start? You start standing and then the floor retracts? I don't understand.
Then on the ones that I went on, the wall, like there's one section for each person, and then it kind of like goes and it goes up. So you are not standing on anything. You're not held down by anything except for pure G-force. And it is phenomenal. It's so much fun. So much fun. And you just feel so disoriented when you get off.
I want to do this. Like,
it's incredible.
I want to, as soon as we're done today, I want to go do this.
They probably have one down at Six Flags, Keith.
Oh gosh. I don't want to go to that Six Flags. It's gross. Anyway, interesting. I want to know about this. It seems like a good recipe or something here. Dr. Z.
Yes.
Guys, I tried something different and put a little bit of baking soda into marinade for the lamb that you cooked. So I have never heard of this. I'm intrigued. So tell us, how'd you get this idea? What's the story here?
Apparently they do it at like Chinese restaurants and just Asian food, like I don't know, even Vietnamese food. They marinate the beef in a little bit of baking soda, not too much, otherwise it would be disgusting. But the baking soda apparently keeps the muscle fibers from like shrinking and like collapsing on each other, and it keeps them nice and loose so that when you cook it, it is so much more tender. And it absolutely works. I'm going to try it with a little bit of like rice wine vinegar next time to see if it would neutralize it and like totally counteract it. I'm going to experiment with it. But I did a marinade with a little bit of baking soda, soy sauce, and some sesame oil, and it was so delicious.
Okay. Because I mean, it's good to know that baking soda is good for something other than just like taking the moisture out of the air. Okay, good.
I take baking soda. I drink it almost every day. It's very good for your stomach and just it neutralizes your body. It's very good for you.
What's the ratio of water to baking soda when you drink it?
Personally, I do about half teaspoon in just a glass of water. I normally take it in hot water because that activates it. You stir it into hot water and then, I personally wait about 20 minutes.
Cools off.
Yeah, and apparently it does like some kind of chemical reaction. I don't even know what, but it activates it and then you just drink it. It tastes kind of bad, but whatever, you just chug it.
Okay. So I know we've talked about how you lost multiple Twitter accounts. You had a large following, and then something happened where you are accused by the old regime at Twitter for impersonating yourself, and so they took away your account. It made no sense whatsoever. It was the strangest thing. You kept me updated on what they were communicating back to you, and I want to point out that Ian is on Gringo Rugger 8. This is maybe what account is this for you, by the way, Ian? What are we up to now?
It's probably 12 or 15. It started as Ringo, which is my nickname for decades, and then it just then they started getting really tight, and you had to get inventive on how to recreate yourself the last couple of years.
And you get in trouble for posting like offensive memes and stuff like that. Is that what your story is, or
it's I think one of them, Eric Swalwell back in the day made a comment. I think one of the first bans or kickoffs I took is I said that he needed to be tarred and feathered in the town square, and apparently that was violence.
That's American history. What do you mean?
Exactly.
That's what we do to politicians.
I've been COVID misinformation, even though it was spot on. I've been banned for memes. I've been banned from. It's usually geared because I don't have a filter and will say something directly to a politician, or whoever thinks that they're bigger than somebody else, and I will try to cut their legs out from underneath them for those opinions. And that's usually what leads to me being banned or sticking up for somebody. I'm very surprised with the latest wars and stuff like that. I haven't been banned for going after misinformation and things like that since it goes against narrative.
Perfect segue, because we're going to revisit a couple of your tweets here in just a moment. But you mentioned something interesting there about how you're surprised you haven't been banned lately, and I would say I wonder if that has something to do with the Elon Musk regime as opposed to the old one. That maybe this one is a little bit more tolerant of you and your views. But I don't think Zay would agree with that comment. Zay, what is your thoughts on Elon Musk and the new Twitter X?
Elon Musk, I think, in this new Twitter X is just even more censorship disguised as free speech. Like, they even openly said he hired that. Can I swear?
I mean, just can you figure out another way, or
okay?
How harsh do you want to be here with your? That's the key. What's the context?
I was gonna say the B word.
Oh, that's fine. Whatever.
Okay, Elon Musk
it's not excessive.
That bitch from the World Economic Forum, and she said freedom of speech does not equal freedom of reach, or whatever she said. And my account, I came across one of my tweets from, I think, 2 years ago, like a year and a half ago. It was like 3,500 likes on it. Like normal, I have 40,000 followers. Now, when I tweet something, it's like 500 people see it, and I get like maybe 20 likes. Tell me that isn't censorship.
Shadow banning is what you're suspecting?
Shadow banning, I guess, and they're just limiting my reach so much. And I know I'm not the only one, and I'm losing followers like crazy. I'm losing them by like the thousands, and I know there are problems with bots. However, I know that my reach is being throttled like crazy.
Have you tested to see like, because there's websites where you can check. I'm trying to spell this. Zeynep Yenisey. Don't make me. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. Hang on. Spell. I've lost my glasses up here. I'm an old man who's lost his glasses. How do you spell Yenisey? Yenisey.
Yeah.
All right. Let me just check, because there's websites
I looked at
where
that shadow ban website. I tried it on there, and it says there's like nothing there. But tell me that it's normal for my account to have a reach of like less than 1,000 views. I'm not saying likes. No one sees my tweets, and I get comments from people saying your tweets hardly show up on my feed anymore. So no one is seeing my tweets,
which are awesome, by the way. Okay. Yes.
And that's a trend for a lot of people. There's some great follows out there, and they're just normal, regular people that have a pretty large reach. And then somebody, and they do a lot of helpful things, 3C custom knives, Ghost of Baylor's, Infinity Design. Some of these guys, like, they're veterans, they're blacksmiths, they do a lot of stuff for charity. somebody will disagree with one of their, gun posts or something like that. And the next thing you know, they'll get a manipulation warning from Twitter, and then you can't see these guys. And 99.9% of their posts are spot on or they're about helping people in need. It's ridiculous. I agree with 100% that, censorship hasn't gotten any better underneath Elon. It's changed.
Yes.
It's still there, only it's under a different
rebranded.
category.
They rebranded the censorship.
Well, I can say that according to this website, I would share it if I could understand. Let's say shadowban.yuzurisa yazurisa.com. Zeynep M. Yenisey exists. So congratulations. You passed that checkpoint.
Right.
No search suggestion ban. No search ban. But then when you get to ghost ban and reply deboosting, I'm not going to read this whole thing. They're saying that they're not able to test those two for your name for technical reasons. So let me just check mine to see if I get the same error, because if I don't get the same error, then something's up. But I will tell you guys that okay, so mine passed all 5 checks. But I will say that when I paid for the blue check, my and I don't really look at these numbers that often, so I don't know exactly what they were before blue check, but I know that after blue check, where it used to say that you're 200% of what you should expect your interactions to be or whatever it is, then it went down to like 30-something%, and now it's like 40% or something. I don't know. My point is, I was getting 5 times the eyeballs before I paid for this blue check than I did after. And can I just say, when you change your picture, they take away your blue check. I changed my picture like Saturday or Sunday, and I still haven't gotten it back. We're on Friday. I don't know what I've done to piss them off where they haven't come back with it. Anyway, so there is definitely something else going on there. It is not this clean free speech zone that we want to believe it is. I 100% agree with you there.
I've never believed it to be this free speech thing. And I'm sure you guys see like Elon Musk tweeting all the time about how X is now the platform for free speech. And it's like, shut up. No, it's not.
Don't use the word tran or tranny or anything like that, because then you'll definitely draw the ire of whatever is happening there behind the scenes.
Even if you're talking about a vehicle like the old school push button trannies.
I've seen that. Yes,
get deplatformed yesterday for it, or this morning.
Yep. Okay. Well, you saw it yesterday. I saw it. A completely separate one is my point. Like a couple of weeks ago, I've heard, and I don't know, was this on the air, y'all? On Pat Gray Unleashed? I know me and Chris were talking, and it's almost like they're saying that there's something embedded in the code still. I don't know if I believe that. I don't know. Whatever.
That's BS.
But think about, we no longer, like, Elon can say whatever Elon wants to say. Elon's not running X. There's some 22-year-old purple-haired developer who gets offended by the wind blowing that is still embedding code that is going to call this stuff out no matter what you do. I mean, yet you can see some of the most vile communications on things that actually matter in society. And no matter what, they're like, oh no, but that's free speech. But I can't talk about the tranny of a 1971 Buick. Like, tell me, no, there's, people talking about, there's groups that talk about child pornography. You see that left, right, and center, or, straight out just mass murder. But that's not, that's okay. No, it's not okay.
Let's
and if getting rid of the censorship, like they keep saying it is, they're like, it is the #1 priority, free speech. If it was that important, they would deal with that first before moving on to adding like video calls and phone calls.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, come
Yeah.
on.
Okay. By the way, this is a tweet from you, Ian, earlier this week, and there's some truth here. Okay. I don't know if this is zoomed in enough, but Harambe's death is where I guess we peaked as society, and then that happened, and then everything else has been downhill since. This was 2016 that Harambe was viciously murdered while trying to help a small child. No. I thought it was the Mayans in the calendar, December 2012, but you might be right. It may be May 2016. And I just wonder, and I don't hesitate to ask this of Zay. I sprint to ask this to Zay. Zay, are we on a different timeline? And did we start veering off in 2012, 2016, a different time? When did things start to go chaotic, and where are we in reality?
Things started to go south, I think, when they banned smoking indoors and on airplanes. So that was number one. And then I do think Harambe's death accelerated things, and we are absolutely on a different timeline. And we might be switching again because guess what's going to happen right during the eclipse? CERN is turning on the collider.
Oh my gosh, why are they doing that? You're absolutely right. I forgot to bring that up. I didn't even write that down to talk about. I'm so glad you brought it up. Oh my gosh, what is happening? Why are they doing that, Zay? I will remind you.
Switch us into a different timeline.
Okay, I will remind you an assignment I gave you not 10 minutes ago. I want you to go back and write down every last thing that you brought up on this. We've got to have future conversations about this. Let's look at more Ian tweets, shall we? Javier Milei, the libertarian president of Argentina, a nation that flew under the radar away from the WEF overlords. He snuck in there and somehow became the president, and the will of the people was realized. Planning to fire 70,000 government employees down there in the coming months. I love your retweet here where you're like, we need to do this here with more zeros. Amen, brother. Here's my question. Does anybody within the sound of my voice think that we will ever see a substantial reduction in the size of the U.S. federal government employee base? Anyone? Ever? Give me hope.
Nope.
Give me hope.
We're not where it matters. You know, the VA just announced, and here this will be a rabbit hole. So and to that tweet, I did some research. You know, we have over 3 million. So most countries only have one form of government. They don't have multiple layers of government like we do. There's basically their federal government, and you know, everybody kind of falls in line underneath that. Where we have over, I think it's 3.5 million federal employees in the U.S. government. We have over 23 million government employees through the states. We're talking almost 30,000 people. 10%, what is that? 10%? No, 3% of our country is employed by the government. No, yeah, 10%.
Did you say 23 million?
Almost 30 million total employed by government.
Yeah.
And that's just government employees, not contractors. That's government employees. Now, so you have 10% of the people in the government now work for the government. That's insane when you add that number up. And you know, the VA just announced they're cutting 10,000 positions, and they're positions that need to be kept because they're the positions they already struggle in. I mean, why don't we cut them from organizations like the IRS or the CIA or the FBI, you know, ATF, useless organizations, not ones that are actually out to help people? I'm probably going to have a knock on my door after that comment. But,
Aren't we all, brother? Okay, so did you guys see last story here, and then I'll let you go on to your merry day ahead. But there was a sinkhole at a NASCAR track in North Carolina underneath some grandstands, which gave way to rumors that had been, circulating for years. That hey, there's something under there, and it's an old bootleggers like cave, right, where they made moonshine and stuff. I mean, this is a total NASCAR story. They build this racetrack on top of an old moonshine still. I mean, that is. I love this story, and I mean, they better not let this up. They need to turn this into like a museum and something. They're talking about just like, you know, fixing the grandstand or whatever. No, you need to incorporate this into your.
Do you know the history? Do you know the history of NASCAR?
Yeah, that was just
it was for bootleggers.
Correct. Yes. Mm-hmm. And think of the opportunity here. And you know what, by the way, as long as we're talking about the history of NASCAR and stuff, I love the history of the Daytona 500, where half of the race was on the highway, and then when they would circle back, the other half was on the beach, and that was the original track for the Daytona 500. Now that's fun. But anyway, why are they they better not just shore this up and call it done. Make a dadgum museum there at the racetrack that people could visit year round about the history of I don't know, prohibition and moonshine. And like you just said, I didn't even think of this until you said that, the history of NASCAR and how it relates to the prohibition era. That is perfect. I swear, I got to find, my son has this picture book of the history of NASCAR, and there is some fascinating stuff in there that you could turn into a museum and put it right there, and part of the exhibit could be in this cave. Make it happen, NASCAR. Anyway, just saying. All right, that's all I got. I just want to, any closing thoughts, anything that y'all wanted to discuss that maybe we didn't get to or didn't flesh out more? Because if not, I've got, huh?
Did we talk about Zay's Pharaoh?
Zay's Sparrow.
No, the Pharaoh.
Oh, the Pharaoh.
We didn't talk about Zay's Pharaoh.
No, we did. I talked about I bottled her and brought her.
Yeah. The chick. She's the chick in the. She gave her vodka in the.
In
the bottle and stuff. Yeah. Okay. But we're gonna remember, Zay, homework assignment again. Go through here. Send me an email with all of the things that we have to come back and revisit on future podcasts. But we've covered a lot of ground here. I appreciate y'all making time. And just remember, I want you to see this video right here in your nightmares. And yet I keep playing it. Okay. Anyway, Zay, Ian, have a great Easter weekend. I hope the weather is great wherever you are. Well, hell, I know what it's going to be like where Ian is. Anyway, all right, everyone, thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you will join me again in the future, both of you, and for all of you in the live chat and here in the audience. Don't forget, if you're watching this on Twitter, don't forget, there's many more of these episodes available at youtube.com/atthemicwithkeith. There's a playlist of the Friday Live. There's a playlist of the Saving Disney History. There's a playlist of conversations I've had with cool people like Zay and Ian. So there's a lot there to check out. I hope that you will subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, because you never know. Hell, I don't ever know when I'm going to go live and do something like this. But we'll see you again a week from today. Steve Friend, FBI whistleblower, and Jonathan Dunn, the Irish, now American patriot. And we'll see you guys in a week. Thanks so much. Have a great one.